Okay, for our last stop on the Southwest tour for HACKADAY, we are in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, with Mikey Sklar, who was a contributor for HACKADAY back in 2005, 2006. And Mikey is going to show us around his homestead here, where they are doing all kinds of cool stuff with electronics kits and some homesteading. Anyway, Mikey, nice to finally meet you face to face.
Nice to meet you, Caleb.
All right, let's go check it out.
I'm going to show you my homestead here. We bought this RV park in 2006, and that was about 6 years ago for us, and we've been slowly adding our own structures to it. First thing we did is put up a huge fence to kind of protect us from all the local traffic, and so this fence is about 250 feet long. It's all made of paper, and that took us forever, and really probably wasn't the wisest use of our time and resources, but we came here and there wasn't a lot of recycling going on, and they had a huge amount of paper, and other people were already making stuff with paper, so we started mixing it together and made a gigantic fence that took like almost 6 months.
Nice. We'll see more of that around the corner.
We started planting fruit trees because this was just an empty RV park, so we have about 70 fruit trees that we put in. Can't really tell yet because they're only a few years old, but we're starting to get apples and peaches and apricots and cherries and all that each year now, small scale.
Cool.
We're trying to find something unique about the property that we bought. So this particular one has a feed tank we put on it, and that's a hot spring that we use throughout the year for bathing, mostly soaking at night. So it's kind of nice just to have natural 108-degree water coming out of the ground. It's kind of one less thing as a homesteader to worry about, is creating a hot water system.
Cool.
Since we live in the Southwest and rain, water is really the issue. We have 4 of these IBC containers, which are about 300 gallons each, and they go along our property, along the house here. And these in total come to about 1,200 gallons of rainwater that we catch and store, mostly for using with new plants or any sick plants. And I also use it to refill batteries. So those are an inexpensive way. We could actually use a lot more water storage capacity out here. We have a great deal of sunlight in the Southwest, so this is a 2 kilowatt solar system we installed maybe about 4 years ago now, and it's been running continuous, providing our power for the entire property. It's not a very big system, and we're totally off grid here, so it's a there are some lean times a year. Actually, summer we don't produce enough power because the panels are fixed and not quite at the right angle for summer, and they tend to overheat a little bit in the summertime, and we get more cloudy days. So, not the most ideal size system for summer, but the rest of the year we have abundant amount of electricity, so that helps for other projects.
That's cool.
This structure, this dome, is one of the first structures we built on this property, and it's made of paper. It actually has a metal rebar structure that we welded together, put metal lath over it, pumped it full of a paper cement mix, and then sprayed on a paper cement mix on the outside. And this is what we use to store all of our batteries and the rest of our PV system. So charge controllers, inverters, batteries all link up to the panels and then feed into the entire property.
Nice. And I see you've got the cheese fridge down here, and
Oh, right, yeah. So we make cheese. We get milk deliveries throughout the year, so I have a couple of little cheese wheels that I've been saving. These are like native Chihuahua style cheese. It's kind of like a cheddar for this region.
cool.
So this is my office. It's a 20-foot shipping container. Not a great office really, because it gets hot and cold just as you would imagine, but I have little misters that spray it, and I run some fans, and it keeps it like habitable, but I'm embarrassed to say how hot it gets this time of year. This is where I work, in my cubicle here. So I have some kits that I produce. Mostly in here I do all my kit work. So the first kit that I've made is a temperature controller. I know everyone makes a temperature controller, so this one I called Yet Another Temperature Controller. And it's an open hardware design. You know, all the source and schematics and board layout are all free. I use this in our kitchen to convert our freezer, a chest freezer, into a refrigerator, which is much more efficient than most of the refrigerators you can buy today. So that saves us a lot of juice, which we can really use in the summertime. I also use it for rising breads, particularly in the winter when we don't have much humidity or it's not warm enough. So I have a little fermentation chamber, and I also make some more obscure stuff like tempeh and kimchi, which have relatively warm temperatures they like to be left in. So this has been a good device for us. We actually keep 3 or 4 running all the time around our house, and we've been selling those for a few years.
Cool.
And then on a very similar set of parts, I made this, which I call the Pimp, which means power in my pocket. And this is a battery charger, and it's sort of a universal charger that's designed to recover power tool batteries, 12-volt car batteries. You can change multiple batteries in series, and it will desulfate them as well as kind of get over the internal resistance. Some batteries are just so dead they're unchargeable, but usually this can deal with some pretty bad batteries that have been sitting for quite a while. So this has been another popular item in our household, and it's sold a bit too, so that was nice.
Cool.
All the cases for the electronics I mill on this tiny little CNC. So I make all the plexiglass cases, and in this case the cover for the Pimp is made on there too. And that just runs off a Linux box. And lately I've been working with the Raspberry Pi, doing little tutorials for Adafruit on it. So today I'm working on an LCD and trying to write a decent library for it so that it'll be easier for other Raspberry Pi users.
Cool.
And then here's all my crap that needs to be organized. So we have, being in New Mexico, we're kind of vehicularly challenged. We have distances that are great. We're about 70 miles from the nearest city and 150 miles each way to Albuquerque, which is a city where we can do more things in and buy more stuff. So we run biodiesel. So we have a real simple way of making biodiesel just in the little gallon cubies that we collect them in. And I just add methanol lye, shake it up. We have a good video on this.
Okay.
And we keep about 300 gallons in standby storage of vegetable oil. I collect from 2 restaurants in town, the Italian place and the deli. This is my Mercedes. It's an 84 300 turbo diesel Mercedes, and we call it Chance because there's only a slight chance it'll get you to where you want to go. But it has been converted to run on waste vegetable oil, and we also run biodiesel in the stock tank. And I made a little circuit for it because when we started running vegetable oil, I wanted to make sure that the fuel lines were plenty warm before we ever switched over. So these lights indicate 3 different temperature sensors under the hood, and if they've gone all the way to white, it's warm enough to run the car on it. Okay. If they're just green or blue, it's not time yet. Once you go into red and white, it's okay to flip the vehicle over. So it gives you an idea of how the oil temperature under the hood is doing before it goes into the injectors. So that's what I made it for. And then this is a piece of flooring for my house, which allows us to switch between fuel tanks and purge the engine to get the grease out, so you're just back on bio or diesel. We also have, for local stuff, I've been collecting electric vehicles. We now have 3 of them. It seems that as soon as the batteries go on an electric vehicle, people let the vehicle go too. So all 3 were almost free, relatively free. And they're kind of fun to work on because they don't need too much maintenance, but the batteries always need oversight.
Yeah.
So, trade-off.
And this is the Pykrete that you were telling us about earlier?
Yeah, this is
Or
Papercrete.
not Pykrete, Papercrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Papercrete, which we make by mixing paper and cement, or you can use lime or cactus juice. A lot of additives you can add, sand to it to make different types of textures. So it's a really light block. When we were building, we used to carry like 6 at a time. People think we had incredible strength because it looks like you're carrying huge cinder blocks. And
That's
you know,
great.
It's got its issues. It's got great insulation, kind of like straw bale level, but it's also, prone to mold and fire and other stuff. So you have to have some additives to make it a little more stable, like boric acid or enough cement and lime that bugs won't want to get into it. It can't be touched with moisture.
And that's what you used for that entire long fence over there you were telling us about?
Right, so this big long brown fence is all made of that paper material.
Very cool.
We poured it in slabs, 4x8 slabs, and tilted it up and put framing studs around it and mounted it in place. And that's actually been there for 6 years and looks really good since we spent a fortune on a stucco job recently. So.
Very nice. Very nice.
So We've been raising bees to make mead, and we're not that good at it. They're here, and they're really friendly, and I like it. You know, compared to like raising chickens or something, there's not much to worry about. But they haven't really been producing huge amounts of honey. Every year we just get maybe a gallon, where we should probably be getting closer to 5 to 10 gallons. So I have a lot to learn about bees. Get that better.
And a work in progress here.
Yeah, this is a dome we started building, same as our battery dome, same type of structure. It's just a bigger version. So the battery dome was kind of the test for the big one. This is 300 square feet of usable space, about a 15-foot ceiling. And the idea was we were going to insulate it and maybe move in or use it as a guest room. And we kind of stopped working on it because we realized that this is going to take a lot more work to finish, to get the plumbing and electric in to code. So this has not been worked on for several years, but that's kind of the nice thing about building out of metal is you can just walk away for a while. Whereas if this was a stick frame building, I don't think you can leave it out for 5 years and just be like,
Yeah.
I'll get back to it.
Yep.
So,
All right. Well, Mikey, thank you very much for giving us the tour.
yeah, thank
And
you.
we'll be sure to check out the stuff you're working on.
Great.
All right. Thanks.